Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the ADHD has just a touch of autism, where the true crime is as scary as the hauntings and unsolved cases. But the hosts never stay on topic for long. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Em.
And I'm Meg.
Keep your arms, legs, and other extremities in the vehicle at all times, and enjoy the show.
Hello.
Buongiorno. Guten Morgen.
I have that shirt.
I know. I have the matching one. I wore our shirt, the not people. The tank top.
Yes.
I wore it to the gym and this girl was like, "Bitch, where'd you get it?"
Like, I know, right?
Seriously. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
If you see a sudden, flash across the screen, that's Dakota.
The dog, not the human.
No.
Can we mention his name or do we not mention his name?
I don't see why we can't. He's never said that we couldn't.
Right. Oh, hi, puppy.
Ow!
You're so cute.
With your nails. I don't need you in the mic, though.
So I have everything up in the background. I'm trying to minimize the screens so I can have, instead of using my laptop or my phone.
Tablet? Phone thing?
If I had a tablet, that'd be great. I do not. I have a phone. So last night was interesting. I'm making Rachel a bag. And it's one of those patterns where you have to print it out online and it's got all these shapes and everything like that. And I'm like, this is new. This is a first for me. This is my Mount Everest with bags. I can do a shoulder bag. I can do a backpack. This is like
all the things.
All the things. This is the rude. The next door neighbor just started their motorcycle.
Are you sure it's not on my end?
No. I can hear the dogs. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care today. Today, we realized when we were going over our content that we did specific places in Georgia and Nevada. So you guys are getting a double episode of spooky places in Georgia and Nevada today. But I printed out.
Shit, I didn't cover all the rest of the spooky places for Nevada. I just did the background. Shit. You're just gonna get the background history of Nevada.
But I'm in the middle of doing this project for Rachel, and I'm going over the things, and I read through all of the instructions, and at the end it says, make sure when you print out as custom, not default, as custom. Otherwise the measurements will be off. And I went, fuck.
Surprise.
So I went to the computer and it's off by just a fraction of an inch. So instead of it being my goodness.
The rough housing.
So instead of it being 30 inches on the top for the zipper, I think it's going to be 28, maybe 26.
That's not too bad.
But it's not terrible. So you're taking care of some puppies this week?
Yeah, the same
Same dogs.
Multi-crew as usual.
Man. They're so cute too. One of them's like a poodle. Like a poodle mix.
They are.
And then there's another one that's like a husky golden.
No, just a golden.
Just a golden. Oh, it's so cute and fluffy. I just want to pet it.
She's a chunky one, so.
She is.
Oh, look, some of the places that.
Some of them transferred over.
Well, some of them are already covered in the first episode.
You did cover, but I mainly am doing this because I did not do it for me. So, congratulations, guys. You're getting another episode about Georgia. The last episode we did was on Lake Lanier. So, if you want to go back to that episode, you can actually go to do. It's going to be July 3rd if you want to go back to that episode. But the capital of Georgia is Atlanta. It's got a 10.91 million population. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
State flower is the Rosa lavagata. Say that 20 times fast. Lavagata. Lavagata. The state bird, they have two.
Interesting.
Northern bobwhite and the brown thresher.
Okay.
Okay.
I've heard of the thresher before. The other one I haven't.
Right. So the state nickname is the Peach State, and the state tree is the Southern Live Oak.
Makes sense.
So it was admitted to the Union January 2nd of 1788, which was 236 years ago, and it was the fourth state to enter the Union. Are the dogs
just let me know?
Yeah.
I'll mute myself.
Okay. So the first people arrived in what is now Georgia, which is at least 13,000 years ago. By 1000 BC, Native American tribes, including the Appalachee, Cherokee, and Choctaw, arrived here. So the Appalachian Mountains got their name from that tribe, which is the Appalachee. 1733, Georgia was established as the 13th colony, and in 1788, it became the fourth U.S. state. But at the start of the Civil War, At the start of the Civil War in 1861, Georgia left the Union and wouldn't return until the end of the war, which was in 1865. Fun fact, did you know that Georgia was named after King George II?
I did not.
Yeah.
I always wondered how they came across that name.
So they named it after King George, who approved the colony's charter, the original creation, in 1732. And the nickname of Georgia, the Peach State, the Cherokee Indians grew peaches in Georgia in the mid-1700s. And today the state produces 2.6 million bushels a year.
Holy shit. That's a lot of peaches.
Making it the biggest producer of peaches in the United States behind California and South Carolina.
I mean, it makes sense because, between the climate and the ground being perfect for it. Makes sense.
Georgia was the home to the first European settlers, the oldest human skulls in Caucasus. We're going to say Caucasus. Belonging to 1.8 million old couple, Zezeva and Miza. They were found during an archaeological expedition in Damascus. They're seen as an important link between the African and European ancestors.
Sorry, they're playing tug of war.
Well, Dakota. My God.
Oh, it's both of them.
Oh, shit.
They're playing tug of war right now.
I don't think I can scrub any of that in the background. I don't even know how to without muting everything.
I'm going to just keep muting myself and unmuting myself.
I'm fine with that as long as you are.
I am.
Okay. So, Georgia was the only colony that was founded and ruled by a board of trustees, which was based in London, with no governor or governing body within the colony itself for the first 2 decades of its existence. Georgia was the only one in North American colonies which slavery was explicitly banned at the outset, along with rum, lawyers, and Catholics. Jews did not receive explicit permission from the trustees to join the colony until 1742, when it was legalized and slavery was allowed in the area. So they weren't allowed to come in. I know. Super racist.
What?
Yeah, super racist.
That's just right on par.
So, they were allowed to stay upon their arrival in 1733, but it didn't become legal until 1742 when slavery was legalized. After
Just all the rudeness.
After 1751, they lifted the ban on slavery in the colony, and Georgians moved quickly to establish a coastal plantation economy based on rice and Sea Island cotton.
Interesting.
So, the outbreak of the Revolutionary War was 1775 to 83. It was well representative in the Second Continental Congress, the Siege of Savannah in 1779. Georgia was home to significant Native American populace with the Creeks and the Cherokees. But the Cherokees were forced to exile in 1838 to 1839. This was known as the Trail of Tears.
Yes.
So everybody who knows American history knows about the Trail of Tears. I'm not going to go into full depth on that unless somebody sends us a DM on our Instagram or on our Facebook page asking for such. Georgia became the 5th state to secede from the Union. So they became a Confederate state on January 19th, 1861. This is why I don't like Georgia. There was a lot of violent transgressions that took place from 1861 to the early 1900s. We're going to be covering some of that because a lot of our shit that's spooky came from that, along with Martin Luther King, the Albany movement, the Brown versus Board, all of the civil rights movement started in Georgia. So, Georgia's had a lot of rocky past, but it's had some rockin' people live in it. You want to hear about some famous people?
Always.
Jimmy Carter, Martin Luther King Jr., Julia Roberts.
Oh, nice.
Alan Jackson.
Saw that one.
Tyler Perry. He has the studio production lot out there. Perry Records or Perry, whatever. Elton John.
Interesting.
Ray Charles.
Makes sense.
Cardi B.
Also makes sense.
Justin Bieber.
I mean, Atlanta is a big port city, so
right.
Makes sense.
We also got
less traveling.
We also got some oldies but nudies. We got oldies but goodies. Nudies. My goodness.
I was waiting for you to catch that.
Okay, so we got Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Raven Simone, Jeff Foxworthy, Ryan Seacrest, Hulk Hogan, Darius Rucker, Bill Murray, Andy Dick, Stephen Colbert, John Mellencamp, Reese Witherspoon, Chris Rock, and there is literally dozens more.
Oh, wow.
So I just picked the top 20. And for Emily, who is unfortunately not here today, she, has a day job. You have a night job. So.
Day jobs suck.
Some do, yeah. For some of our listeners, they actually listen to it at work. Shout out to one of our followers who actually loved the shout out last time. Sarah, we love your floral arrangements. Send us pictures soon.
Yes, please.
Did you know that Atlanta is the home to Coke? Not cocaine, not cocaine. The World of Coca-Cola. A museum in Atlanta is dedicated to the soft drink, and you can actually make your own Coke.
Yes, I did know that because they have the Coca-Cola place there next to the Georgia Aquarium.
I did not know that.
You can swim with the whale sharks.
I heard about that on my research, and let me tell you, that is still terrifying to me.
Savia went and did it with her best friend.
I obviously she's right, but I mean, how? What?
I'm not sure of all the logistics, but yeah, she said it was a lot of fun.
Well, today's going to be kind of fun. Obviously, we're discussing haunted places. I like to do mine in alphabetical order because,
makes it a little bit easier.
I was like, I have 21. Nope. I have 18 because I had to delete 2 because they were duplicates.
Ah,
So you ready for some spooky shit?
yes.
All right, we got 15 minutes of history. I hope you guys are ready for this. The spooky shit is pretty gnarly, man. It's bad. 90% of the hotels I covered, did you know that they were responsible for the yellow fever, like holding on to the people during yellow fever and during the Civil War?
No, thank you.
Okay, so the first one we have is the Bonaventure Cemetery. Of course, it's a cemetery. However, this one is notably the most haunted. It was featured on Ghost Adventures with our lovely Bagel Bites. Zach Bagel Hands. It's covered in live oak trees and Spanish moss, which is its state tree. It's mostly covered in mist 90% of the time. They don't know why. I'm using science and saying it's a science thing, like it's the heat and the cool. Apparently, there's a useful spirit there that is by the name of Gracie. She playfully roams among the graves. Just
No, thank you.
Guests have shared tales of hearing ghostly cries of infants and encountering a funerary statue that appears to wickedly smile at you as you approach.
Mm-mm.
That's
I don't like that.
that's like the weeping angels from Doctor Who all over again.
Right.
There wasn't a lot on this one because a lot of people who have tried to go there have left after a few minutes.
Sorry.
You're fine. It's like if if normal people want to leave after a few minutes, I obviously probably wouldn't want to stay longer, you know?
Yeah.
So the next we have is the Ellis Hotel, which was built in 1913 in Atlanta, Georgia. It was notated as a fireproof hotel. You know where this is going.
But was it really?
It was devastatingly engulfed by fire in 1946.
There it is.
The fire claimed the lives of 119 people, but firefighters couldn't get past the 8th floor. The hotel had 15 floors. So the remaining 7 floors were just demolished.
Gone.
Images taken from that day have shown people desperately leaping from windows. Now, for those of you who are roughly around the same age bracket as myself, Rachel or Emily did see 9/11 on TV, did have to watch it. I had a friend whose dad was supposed to be in the tower the time that it happened. He called in sick with the flu.
And thank goodness he did.
Let me tell you, it's kind of funny. It was kind of funny because it's like, but those pictures will always be embedded in my head. And it's one of those things where
Yeah.
they have the old timey cameras and you can see the black. Because back then, from the 50s, the shutter speed isn't what it is today.
So things still move.
It still moved. So it was still, blurry. But among the casualties, Frank Weinkoft, the owner, perished. Despite the damage, the hotel reopened in the 1950s, later opening as a retirement home, and then reopening again as the Ellis Hotel in the 1900s. The guests have reported hearing screams, seeing and smelling smoke, and watching the apparitions run.
No, thank you.
The next we have is eerily covered bridge. It originally was built decades ago, prior to the 1800s, like right in the beginning of the early 1800s. It was reconstructed in the 1880s after a man died on the bridge, and the pre-existing bridge was swept away in a torrent.
Nope.
Witness testimonies have seen the man who wanders the bridge. There were local stories of a native girl who met a gruesome fate and was hung from the bridge rafters, with people stating there's an eerie shifting of phantom rope. However, historical accounts prove another point of view that happens to be true. So that's the urban legend, right?
Yeah.
So this comes from georgiaparanormalplaces.wordpress.com. It's a great website. I got a lot of information about Georgia from there. Prior to investigating the bridge, the team and I talked to a local historian who substantiated that the tale being passed around was indeed false. She began to tell us a story of a small white girl traveling across the bridge with her father by wagon, like a not a covered wagon, it was exposed. The girl was being disobedient and rambunctious and began to jump up and down on the seat on the wagon. So, for those of you who don't know, the old covered wagons, think of where a normal SUV sits. The top of the SUV is where the seat of a wagon is. It's very, very tall because
Yeah.
you have to be sitting above the horses. So, she began to jump up and down upon the seat of the wagon, so standing up. As the two were crossing the bridge during one of her jumps, her long hair became entangled in the rafters, wrapped around the rafters, and when she came down from jumping up, it snapped her neck. The disconcerting creaks
The
are...
poor father.
Yeah, I know. Like, having to deal with that should have been terrifying. The disconcerting creaks are attributed to the spectral image of the girl, forever swinging by the rafters of her hair. However, the creaks can also be attributed to the age old of the wood. The wood age? Age? The age of the wood.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You hate talking about this part. You really don't like Shriners. Fox Theater, located in Atlanta and built in 1929, it was built as a Shriners temple. It was originally a Shriners temple, and it transformed into a movie palace, escaping demolition several times, notably as a historical place. Most hauntings that have been seen here, because a lot of the theaters and the hotels and the big places in the area were turned into makeshift hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay, so Confederate soldier oftentimes standing near theater windows. An organist who worked at the theater for 24 years, not 40, I'm 40. It's rumored that his ashes reside in the organ that he used to sit at and play on. A mischievous spirit who smells of roses enjoys playing pranks, pressing buttons for different floors on the theater elevator, and causing mischief. Little kids. Can't do little kids. No.
It's always little kids. Why?
I know. The next one we have is Heritage Hall, which is located in downtown Madison, which I really want to go to Madison, Georgia, because the architecture there is very much like Greek Revival. It's very much Victorian. I love it. So this hall was built in 1811. It's the classic Greek Revival home and was a president coffee. How about that? I have some coffee.
Coffee would probably help.
Coffee would help. It was a private residence until 1977, and then it became a historical home, and it was it has become Madison's most visited site. People come for the architecture, the period furnishings, and the artifacts, and of course the ghosts.
There it is. Always the ghosts.
The most famous of which, her name was Virginia Nesbit. She died in the master bedroom while giving birth in 1851. What is the dog doing?
It's just huffing, panting. But my face was because Mrs. Nesbit from Toy Story.
Mrs. Nesbit. Oh, yes. That is what Buzz Lightyear dresses up as. That's what my friend dresses up as for the Disney races, because he doesn't. he has a amputated arm. It's up at the shoulder, and when he came back from Iraq, funny story. If you're listening, Jeff, I hate you. So I have 4 friends named Jeff. This one's nicknamed Hefe in my phone. I don't even think I have his new number because he just came back. But he did Doctors Without Borders and he was a doctor
Hmm.
over there, and so he was one of the first people who was like, "You need to watch Grey's Anatomy because I'm like this guy." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I finally
Which one?
he said he was like Riggs, and I didn't know who Riggs was until later. And now watching it, I'm like, he really is like Riggs. He likes to pull pranks and he likes to be the funny one. And so when he lost his arm, he's like, I can still go back. I can still treat. You know,
Yeah,
he has a fully functioning, you know, arm.
prosthetic.
Yeah. And so now when he does the races for Disney World, he'll dress like Mrs. Nesbitt with the full apron.
Tutu and everything.
Oh my god, it's great. It is so fucking funny because he'll wear the Buzz Lightyear outfit
I love it.
and dress up his prosthetic to look like the Buzz Lightyear arm. And it's, anyways. So Nesbitt. Um, so in front of the fireplace, there's a portrait of a woman holding a baby. Back in the 18 and 1900s, they typically did paintings or still life photos of people who had passed away with
Yes.
their children. And somebody else would be behind them, covered in like a white sheet, holding the baby up. And it was really, really creepy. But this was apparently a hand painted portrait of a woman holding a baby. So she likes to hang out in front of the fireplace downstairs. Many have felt her, but have also seen her. She's also been seen laying on the bed in her upstairs bedroom. And the bedroom where her soul seems to haunt the most is deemed as the ghost room. Many prefer not to go in because they hear sounds of baby crying and feel things of dread.
Can't imagine why they don't want to go in.
I wouldn't even step foot in that house. Like, oh, the architecture looks great. Take pictures for me. I'll stay out here. I'm good.
Right? Like, I like the view from outside. Thanks.
Thanks. Love the view here.
Yes.
So, I would love to turn off my air conditioner. However, it's been in triple digits for 2 weeks now. And going to the 80s occasionally. I'd rather not risk it because it's 8:21 right now in Texas. It is 73%, no, 83% humidity and 76 degrees at 8:30 in the morning.
No, thank you. My thermostat on my Jeep going to work last night said 93, and I went, no, thank you.
Nope. Um, so the next one we have is known as the Kennesaw House. So there is a town called Kennesaw, and there are a couple of houses there. This one is aptly named the Kennesaw House. Built in the 1840s and located in Marietta, Georgia, it was built as a cotton warehouse by John Glover in 1845. This, you know, will make it extra spooky.
Of course.
One of Marietta's oldest buildings, Dix Fletcher, purchased this
Of course you did.
in 1855 after remodeling it. He opened the Fletcher House Hotel in its place. I know you can already see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
In April 1862, Andrew Raiders stayed on the second floor room an evening prior to their theft of the steam engine, known as the General.
Yep.
During the early years of the Civil War, the hotel was used as a Confederate hospital and then later a Union hospital.
Just all the deaths.
All the deaths. So, used during the Civil War as a hospital in 1864 by the Union Army and not willingly. So it was yeeted, it was snatched, it was yoinked. When General Sherman came through town on his march to sea, he didn't burn down the Fletcher House. He instead spared the hotel because Dix Fletcher was a Mason, and his son-in-law Henry Cole was a Yankee spy.
Yep. Only reason why it was saved.
Only reason why. Um, The fourth floor did catch fire as embers from other burning buildings blew onto the roof, and the fourth floor was never rebuilt. Close to 700 spirits live within the walls.
Of course.
So we're going to get into a few of those. Okay, good. I was looking for my lens wipe because I have something in my glasses. It's driving me nuts. Because it's a big ass thumbprint on my glasses.
That'll be why.
I'm like, what is this smudge? Is it my eye? And I'm blinking a couple of times. It is not my eyeball. I got new glasses for my birthday. Thank you to my husband.
And we love them.
I love them. I only wear the toppers when I get dressed up. I don't wear the toppers.
Right, makes sense.
Oh my god, I can see. Okay.
Yay!
So, would you like to hear about some of the spirits inside Kennesaw House?
Yes, please.
Alrighty. So, guests were in the elevator and it unexpectedly went to the basement. When the doors opened, they saw soldiers in the hospital beds, which are no longer there, and a man who looked to be a surgeon walking around.
No, thank you.
A young schoolgirl who was on a field trip here saw a woman in a light blue antebellum style dress. The woman smiled and then poofed.
And poofed.
Yep. The girl later identified her as the woman she saw in the picture of the museum, the original owner of the Kennesaw House.
I mean, it makes sense.
John Glover's wife. So next, we have what is right next door to the house, which is the Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield.
I was going to say cemetery.
Close enough. Might as well be.
Not quite.
The battlefield was a harrowing adventure in the history of the Civil War and stands as a testament to the Civil War's brutality. We have an inkling to at war with each other, and it's never any good.
Nope.
An estimated 5,350 men lost their lives in this battlefield, particularly. Locals tell of ghostly soldiers, some maimed and others missing limbs, who still patrol the battlefield, especially after dark, and especially if they are only seen out of the corner of their eye. They vanish before witnesses can even see them straight on.
Nope.
Some witnesses state that they heard clearly both Union and Confederate soldiers engaged in heated battle.
I mean, I could have kind of seen that.
It gets better. They also hear cannon blasts and gunfire, and often catch whiffs of gunpowder and pungent odors resembling blood and musk in the air.
I mean,
like
with all that death, it's understandable.
I know. It's just like, good Lord. So the next we have is the Macon-Bibb County. So like the whole county. Not just a tiny little townhouse. Not a cemetery. The whole fucking ass county. So this town was originally founded in 1823 as Fort Hawkins. That's why. Because it was originally a fort. It changed its name to Macon in honor of Nathaniel Macon, a statesman from North Carolina. No idea why. There's no history on him whatsoever. But there is a spectral soldier known to be spotted at Fort Hawkins in Macon. So there is an area that's called Fort Hawkins.
Yes.
Excuse me, I just burped. If you guys want me to cover the whole county, just send us a message on Facebook or Instagram.
Let us know, please.
Please. There is a managing director at the Grand Opera House that haunts the theater and stage at all hours, but especially at night. The Hay House has reports of apparitions to the former mansion employees still roaming the halls and grounds. The last note is, y'all know the cemeteries are haunted because you know cemeteries.
I mean, it's where the dead like to hang out. They're dying to get in, but
Oh, man.
I couldn't resist.
That's terrible.
I mean, but is it wrong?
No, you are not wrong. So,
Exactly.
the next we have is the Marshall House, located in Savannah, made by Mary Marshall in 1851. Also rumored to be severely haunted, as we do on the story. So,
I've been to Savannah and 100% can say everything there is haunted.
everything there is very much haunted. A good chunk of the places that I've seen in my notes, in a bunch of Josh lived in Georgia for quite a time and he wants to go back. And I said, I have not a problem. However, I have to make sure the ghost that knows that I'm moving into that house knows that I mean it no harm.
Right.
Because most of them are Presbyterian or Christian. The ones that practice voodoo and hoodoo will get along fine with me. The other ones, not so much. So the guests have stated at the Marshall House that they've heard crashing noises in the night, odors of decaying flesh and death, disembodied voices, and footsteps down the hall when no one is present. It is a hotel which served as a hospital during the Civil War and yellow fever epidemics.
Because beds.
Yes. While being renovated in the 1990s, workers unearthed.
They unearthed some bodies.
They unearthed some bodies, some human remains. You guessed it.
It was a hospital. So was it just like limbs or was it like full bodies? Full bodies.
Glad you asked. I put that note in for you. These remains to have believed to have been amputated limbs from Civil War soldiers. So they didn't find heads or torsos, but they found a lot of
Limbs,
limbs.
arms, legs.
Other guests have reported encounters with spirits attempting to turn doorknobs from the outside. Like you do. The second.
I mean, they want to get in.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, Frank, you heard the other day, we were on the phone, you heard the door unlock. And you heard me go, knock it off, Frank, and it locked right back. I'm literally sitting on the couch and it's 2 yards away from me. There is no way my arm will. I am a tiny human. So the second and fourth floors have gained popularity for their haunted apparitions and their ghostly nature. No thanks.
No, thank you.
Milledgeville. Milledgeville. Milledgevile. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, please tell me. Originally set as Georgia's capital in 1803, it changed to one of the original towns in 1806. Ghosts run rampant, and there's a few in this whole town, but I'll only name 2 because there are literally hundreds. Bill Miner, who was one of the famous train robbers and bandits back in the 1800s, he was known for outwitting jailers and escaping from jail. So he was punished repeatedly for breaking out of jail, so he fled again and hid in a local swamp where he drank the water there and developed gastritis, which killed him.
He kept escaping jail because he didn't like the punishment. So what did they do? Put him back in jail?
So he ran.
serving a purpose. So serving a purpose because this guy just keeps getting out. We're just gonna put him back in.
Dixie Haygood. She was a famous illusionist known as Little Miss Georgia Magnet or the Georgia Wonder. She traveled all over the world performing in opera houses under the name Annie Abbott, which I do know that name. It was a magician's name in the 1800s and the 1900s. Apparently, her spirit walks around the Memory Hill Cemetery even today, and around Christmas time every year, a hole in the ground forms next to her cemetery grave. And even though they fill it, still pops up.
It just keeps. That's a little weird.
And guess what? They put cement in the hole to see if it would stop, and it didn't. A hole just formed next to it.
You can't stop me, bitches.
So, because cemeteries are super popular for haunted places, I added another cemetery, Oakland Cemetery, located in Atlanta, established in 1850. It is the city's oldest and largest burial ground, serving as a final resting place for 70,000 individuals, including 3,000 Confederate soldiers. You ready? You're going to ick.
I mean, like, I understand the soldiers had to get buried somewhere, but, like.
Yeah, but I mean, you're still going to ick.
Mm.
I will totally invite you to coloring day.
Yes.
Rachel sent me a meme. Don't invite me unless this is the vibe. Josh and I have coloring books. So yes, we do that.
Yay.
Okay, reports have been stated of soldiers hanging from trees, wandering the cemeteries, and disembodied voices.
Not just like hanging out on the tree branches, just
Nope, just
swinging
lynched.
in the breeze.
Yep. Victims of yellow fever and others who have had tragic deaths are also found in the cemetery. Their spirits also wander here. It has been featured on Ghost Hunters and is noted as one of the most haunted places in all of Georgia, if not the top 3. It also includes generals, governors, clergymen, and some most famous Georgians. Ghosts here are known to be both angry and friendly. On the Confederate side of the cemetery, people have heard military calls, responses to names being called, and disembodied voices, which we've already talked about. A Union soldier being hung from a tree, also talked about. This is where you're going to ick. You ready?
Not really.
The sight of Jasper Newton Smith rising out of the statue on his grave in the middle of the night, peering out to all of those, smiling, and then disappearing.
Okay, but like, I would totally do that too.
Right.
Just be like, hey guys.
What's up?
No, you don't. Just
How's
pop
it
it
go?
in and out.
Just making sure everything's on the level.
I think that's kind of funny though that he does that.
Well, I think he was the one who originally formed the cemetery.
Ah, okay. Just checking on things.
Because it's been around since the 1800s.
Yeah.
This one I was excited to do the history on because I saw the name and I immediately thought of Coraline.
Ah.
The Old Pink House. It was constructed in 1771. The home was completed in 89, located in Savannah. It was previously the home of Joseph Habersham Jr.
What do you do?
He originally built the home and lived there until 1802, while official records indicate he had declining health as cause of death. A cloud of suspicion has been arose. Arisen? Arose. I don't know. Arisen?
Arose, I think.
Okay. Many believe that Habersham took his own life after uncovering his wife's infidelity.
I mean, that's one way to go about it, I guess.
So he was known as a very clean and very meek-mannered man. His home was turned into a restaurant with Southern-style cuisine with a modern flair.
Mm-hmm.
The resident ghosts make their appearance known quite often. Habersham himself comes out to play mainly from the fall season, October to March. A man dressed in Revolutionary War-style clothing sitting at the end of the bar, only to disappear when people turn their backs on him. The ghosts of slave children have been seen, locking patrons in the downstairs bathroom. Because of this, the servers tend to tell visitors to use the upstairs.
I don't blame them.
Tables and chairs mysteriously rearrange themselves. Candles flicker in empty rooms, and rooms left disheveled regain their order swiftly and get cleaned miraculously. I kind of want that. Wait, how can someone make a six milk cake? Are they rich?
That's why it's funny. In this economy?
Our friend Liz, still one of the funniest jokes to me. I laugh every time I see something like this on a menu. Ses leches en esta economía. It's true. It's so true. All right. I love you and I hate you at the same time. Because that just made me laugh and made my insides go, ugh, six milks. How can you afford that? Okay, that is more scary. If a muscular system suddenly walked into my, yep, okay. Next we have the Moon River Brewing Company. Moon River. It is a brewery situated within one of Savannah's most haunted hotels. So it was originally a hotel. There's stuff up top, but it was a city's hotel in 1800s. The Savannah City Hotel had its last guest in 1864, right before our beloved General Sherman. You remember that shitbag?
Mm-hmm.
He claimed the city and his famous march to the sea during the American Civil War. Granted, he was for the Union. He was still a shitbag human. I did research on him. I did not put it in here, but he was... This also served as a hospital during the Civil War and yellow fever epidemic. It estimated hundreds of people, mostly children, died on the upper floors of the building during these outbreaks. You know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
In 1832, the hotel became a site of a shooting where notorious rebel and Georgian state representative James Stark died. Do you know why he died?
Hanging?
No.
Poison?
Nope. Gunshot.
Oh.
Philip Menace. Jewish. Very notably known. He slandered him and called him a lot of names, which I saw in the research and I am not going to say on this podcast because that is racist and anti-Semitic. So I'm not.
I assume we don't stand for either of those.
No. Not at all. So Philip Menace was a physician and a scion of the old Savannah family and shot and killed James Stark in 1832. Because of this, it's stated by several witnesses that James Stark still haunts the brewing company to this day.
I mean, makes sense.
I felt a sneeze coming on. Excuse me.
And then it said it lied.
No, but I coughed at the same time. It was very confusing for my face.
Very confusing emotions.
In more recent times, the building, which houses the Moon River Brewing Company, has been used as a storage space, an office supply store, and actually sat vacant for almost 20 years and was purchased in 1995 to become the brewing company. So Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters have both shot episodes at Moon River. So Mr. Bagel Hands, there are ghosts in the basement. A woman claimed the right side of her body became cold and she heard voices and couldn't hear what they were saying, and when she left the brewing company, it stopped. The second floor where the shooting happened is also haunted by Stark, who seems to also roam the main floor as well. The fourth floor of the Moon River Brewing Company has been told to be off limits. It harbors a dark energy and nobody knows why. The infamous Lady in White. Side note, why are ghosts always dressed in white?
I don't know. I think some have thought it to be the funeral shrouds that they used to be buried in.
Probably. Um, she apparently pushes people downstairs. Uh,
What the hell?
construction crews were being chased out by unforeseen forces, and it all happened on the upper floor level where the dark energy lives at the Moon River Brewing Company. Again, another cemetery, Mount Hope Cemetery. It predates the Civil War. There is no original date. I wasn't able to locate it, and I spent days researching this. Um, People have recounted numerous inexplicable occurrences within the cemetery's hallowed grounds, photographic proof capturing multiple apparitions, and an eerie, otherworldly mist has resided in the historical Lumpkin County Courthouse, now the Donalega, sorry if I mispronounce it, Gold Museum, since it was captured by a librarian in the 1950s. Among the ghosts that haunt, Confederate soldiers eternally wandering the land, and their headstones, although fascinating, make a nighttime visit otherworldly. People have been said to sit atop said tombstone, so it's like haunted mansion kind of thing. There's also, because we talked about Shanghai in the last episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a place called the Pirate House in Savannah, which opened in 1753 as an inn for seafarers and quickly became a meeting point for pirates and sailors.
Of course it did.
So since then, it was turned into the Pirate House, entertaining visitors with a bounty of delicious food, drink, and rousing good times.
Hey, boys!
This house was unleashed on unsuspecting patrons, where they were illicitly shanghaied. Shanghaied. My God. I have really bad nasal drainage. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Awakening to find themselves kidnapped and working aboard a real pirate ship. Staff members of this tavern have experienced their fair share of activity. Glasses falling from shelves and apparitions meandering through the dining room, along with the sound of heavy boots being heard and bone-chilling screams. I'm sorry. Just the sturgeon face, just
No thanks.
sailor spirits who were previously shanghaied are also commonly reported. Among the most captivating ghost tales is that of Captain Flint, who is the character from Treasure Island. That's who he was based on.
Interesting.
So though he met his demise, many suggest that he met his demise within the walls of the pirate house and decided to linger. Ow.
Heard that.
We have two more. I know this has been a long episode. I apologize. Rhodes Hall, known as the Castle on Peachtree, was built in the 1900s. It stands as one of the Atlanta's oldest mansions and is a hot spot for paranormal activity. It is in the top 10 as well. It was featured on Ghost Adventures and Haunted Hidden Treasures of Georgia on WSB. Do you want to know why?
Yes.
Tycoon Amos Giles Rhodes built and designed this home for his wife. Him and his wife were very reclusive. They have decided to linger after their death and apparently are still reclusive today, shouting, "Get out!" at the visitors and staff.
That would also be me.
That would be me too. I'm that old guy from Family Guy. Get off my lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Family Guy.
You
What's
ain't
that
gotta
show?
go home, but you just gotta get hell out of mine.
Simpsons. I'm the old guy from The Simpsons. Get off my lawn. Last but not least, we have the 1790 Inn and Tavern. I saved the best for last. Oh no, we have two. Excuse me.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Located in Savannah, it's one of the oldest hotels in all of Georgia. The spirit of Anne Powell continues to roam here. It's been said she was a young girl who plummeted from her to her death from room 204. She jumped out the window.
Yep, there it is.
So there are many versions of the story, but the main point was that she was 17 years old and pregnant. So,
That's sad.
yeah, so she still is pregnant as a ghostly apparition. Reports include from Anne that guests are awaking, seeing Anne look over them, and then turning away in tears, only to jump out the window.
That's terrifying.
Other accounts include missing belongings, mostly women's undergarments, which turn up in planters and behind bushes outside the building.
That's just really freaky.
Some guests feel that someone is touching their cheek, only to wake up and find no one there.
That's usually how it happens.
Caveat: in order to stay in room 204, you must sign a release.
I mean, yeah.
Stating that you will not ask for a refund and that you know what you're getting into. Last but not least.
Get that.
Totally understand. But last but not least, I really did save the best for last. The Windsor Hotel. It is on my place of lists to go to. It is on my list of places to go to. My God, I am backwards today. It is located in downtown Americus, built and established in 1892. It was originally designed to attract snowbirds. You know what snowbirds are?
Yes, I know what snowbirds are.
Okay. You gave me that look like, what the fuck?
No, I was giving the look to the dogs.
Okay. So Victorian in style, boasting 100 rooms, had many visitors to its door, notably Al Capone and Jimmy Carter.
Interesting.
The ghosts of the guests have chosen to linger long after they've checked out. Al Capone
Sounds about right.
Al Capone has been seen in the hotel. He's also been heard at Alcatraz. So people are like, you can only haunt one place. As me,
you can't.
That is incorrect. You can actually go wherever the fuck you want. They typically choose one place.
More so if they really like that place.
Right. Or if it was a particularly violent death, they're bound to it.
Yeah. As a person who has family ghosts and that like to pop in and out of multiple different houses, I can attest to the fact that they don't stay in one place.
Nope. An apparition of a young girl has also been said to haunt the hotel as well. Locals state that she was a daughter of a housekeeper who met her tragic end when she was shoved down an elevator shaft.
That's so sad.
I know. Last but not least, we have a man that was a previous resident who is said to have been linger. And his name was Floyd Laurie, the doorman who worked at the hotel and also lived there. He has a pup named after him. In the actual hotel itself, he was esteemed and very noble, and that, ladies and...
He has a what named after him?
A pub.
Pub. I heard pup, like P-U-P, and I was like,
I would love to have a dog named Floyd. Floyd.
That's why I was like, hold on, I need you to repeat that real quick.
Like, for Floyd. For Floyd. And that is the state of Georgia. My ghouls and goblins, my ladies and germs, my ladies, and gadies. If you want me to cover anything specific out of the state of Georgia or any of the states that we've already done, like I've already said before, DM us. Send us a Gmail. I need to take a quick 20-second run.
That's fine.
I'll be right back.
Okay, no.
Are you doing intermission voice?
I did. And apparently, my hope was not enjoying that because she started whining at me.
Aww.
Stop. You stop. Damn. I was doing a song from the Muppets.
Do, 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 do.
Yes.
Do, 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 do. I wonder if I can use that. You know what? I'm gonna look and see if I can use that.
It's on Google or on Google. Obviously on Google. It's on YouTube, so.
Well, it doesn't mean if it's on YouTube. It doesn't always mean that it's copyright free. Like
True.
yeah, I have to research it because some of the stuff I used per previous people was not allowed.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that was Georgia. I don't have anything else on that state. Do you have anything for me today?
I do.
Oh,
let me pull it up.
I love that. Even better.
I text boyfriend back. Okay. So I got some stuff about Nevada.
Ooh, Nevada. I love Nevada.
Okay, so some little things first. Their state song is "Home Means Nevada."
Right.
Their state bird is the mountain bluebird.
Okay.
The fish is the La Honta cutthroat trout.
Okay.
Their state flower is the sagebrush. They apparently have a state grass, which is Indian rice grass.
Nevada has grass?
Apparently.
Okay. All right.
The insect is the vivid dancer damselfly.
Okay.
Which are similar to dragonflies, but
Not
I
really.
think they're the smaller ones.
Okay.
With like the more petite wings, I think.
That's cute.
State mammal is the desert bighorn sheep. Reptile is the desert tortoise. And the tree is the bristlecone pine, or the single leaf pinon.
Very cool.
State colors, because apparently those are a thing too, is silver and blue. The fossil is the ichthyosaur.
Okay.
Gemstone is the Virgin Valley black fire opal.
That's a really pretty stone.
Like, fire opals in themselves are absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah, no, they're stunning.
The state mineral is silver.
Mm-hmm.
Sandstone is the state rock. Apparently they have a state soil too.
Okay.
Which is Oravada series. I don't know what it is. And then in other, its element is neon.
All right. Sounds like some pretty notable.
They had a state quarter released in 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is officially known as the Silver State because of the importance of silver to its history and economy. It is also known as the Battle-Born State because it achieved statehood during the Civil War. The words Battle-Born also appear on the state flag. Due to the presidency of Abraham Lincoln, the Union benefited immensely from the support of newly awarded statehood by the infusion of the monetary support of nearly $400 million in silver ore generated at the time by the Comstock Lode.
Holy fuck.
It was also known as the sagebrush state because of the native plant, and the sage hen state.
Okay.
Uh, the state's name means snowy in Spanish, of referring to Nevada's small overlap with the Sierra Nevada mountain range. However, the rest of Nevada is largely desert and semi arid, much of it within the Great Basin.
Mhm.
Areas south of the Great Basin are within the Mojave Desert, while Lake Tahoe and the Sierra Nevada lie on the western edge. About
So,
86.
sorry.
Okay.
So, we talked about it before in Donner Lake
Uh huh.
and that place up there is super fucking haunted. Anyways, keep going.
Mm-hmm. About 86% of the state's land is managed by various jurisdictions of the U.S. federal government, both civilian and military.
Ooh.
They would choose now to do this shit. Like, y'all had like
All
a whole
day.
bunch of time
Right.
and all night. Like, I don't understand. Um, so the American Indians, the Native Americans of the Paiute, the Shoshone, and the Washoe tribes inhabited what is now Nevada. So now we're doing a back history. The first Europeans to explore the region were Spanish. Of course, they were.
Yep.
And they called the region Nevada, meaning snowy, due to the snow covering the mountains in the winter, which was similar to the Sierra Nevada in Spain.
Okay.
Which is also why the Sierra Nevada is named that, because of the mountain range in Spain.
There you go.
The area formed from mostly Alta California and part of Nuevo Mexico's territory within the Viceroyalty of New Spain, which gained its independence as Mexico in 1821.
Hmm.
The U.S. annexed the area in 1848 after the U.S. victory in the Mexican-American War, and it was incorporated as part of the New Mexico and Utah Territory in 1850.
Huh.
The discovery of silver at the Comstock Lode in 1859 led to a population boom that became an impetus to the creation of the Nevada Territory out of Western Utah Territory in 1861. So, like right before
Right.
the Civil War. Nevada became the 36th state on October 31st, 1864, as the second of two states added to the Union during the Civil War, the first being West Virginia.
Ooh.
Because West Virginia decided they no longer wanted to be a part of Virginia and was like, peace out. We
Right.
don't want to deal with your shit no more.
Right. Like deuces. I'm Audi 3000.
Um, Nevada is supposedly known for its libertarian laws. Um, from what I could find.
Uh-huh.
Um, in 1940, with a population of just over 110,000 people, Nevada was by far the least populated state, with less than half the population of the next least populated state, which was Wyoming.
All right.
However, legalized gambling and lenient marriage and divorce laws transferred Nevada into a major tourist destination in the 20th century.
Well, the biggest place that's out there aside from Las Vegas, Nevada,
Mm-hmm.
is right on the border going into Nevada is what is aptly known as the Bunny Ranch.
Yeah.
It yeah, it's legal.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Good for them though.
They're the only U.S. state where prostitution is legal.
Right. Good for them because we support all shoes in this house.
Yes, although it is illegal in its most populated regions, Clark County, which is Las Vegas, Washoe County, which is Reno, and Carson City, which as a independent city is not within the boundaries of any county.
Right.
So they kind of rule themselves. Um, which is why also that the ranch
Right.
is out in the middle of nowhere, because that way they don't fall into any other jurisdictions. Um, so the tourist industry remains to be the largest employer, with mining continue as a substantial sector of the economy, because Nevada is the fourth largest producer of gold in the world. Nevada is the driest state. Not alcohol. Definitely not alcohol. Water wise.
Water wise.
Water wise is the driest state, and over time and influenced by climate change, droughts in Nevada have been increasing in frequency and severity, which has put a further strain on Nevada's water security. So kind of backtrack a little bit. Before
Okay.
the arrival of the Spanish and Europeans, the earliest inhabitants were indigenous tribes, including the Gashute, Southern Paiute, Mohave, and the Washoe people. So backtrack to the colonizers.
We hate those colonizers.
Yeah. Dakota, would you stop? Francisco Garces was the first European in the area.
Is it Garcias?
Garce with the S.
Garce.
Garce. Okay.
Yeah.
Like my little.
It's a little over the E.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in how you say it.
Right.
So you got to include it. Yeah, so Nevada was annexed as part of the Spanish Empire, in the northwestern territory of New Spain. It became part of the Alta California province in 1804 when the Californias were split. And then the War of Independence won in 1821. It then became a territory in Mexico with a small population. And then the white men came.
Not the white man.
Jebediah Smith.
Oh, fuck him. Sorry.
Like I said, the white man. Jebediah Smith. I like saying the name Jebediah just because it just.
Look, you didn't have to do. I lived in California for years. You had
It's just a fun name to say.
Jebediah Smith is a fuckhead. So I speak for all Californian and West Coast natives. Fuck him.
Just the name Jebediah, though, is just it's fun to say. You have to admit, Jebediah.
Jebediah.
Anyways, he entered the Las Vegas Valley in 1827. Peter Skeen Ogden traveled the Humboldt River in 1828, and in 1829, a merchant from Nuevo Mexico named Antonio Armajillo traveled along the old Spanish Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Chronicalizing Antonio's route, his scout, Rafael Rivera, was the first to name Las Vegas in a in an 1830 report to Governor Jose Antonio Chavez. Following the suggestions by Rivera of a spring on the published expeditions map located in the Las Vegas area, John C. Fremont set up camp in Las Vegas Springs in 1844. In 1847, the Mormons established the state of Deseret, claiming all of Nevada within the Great Basin and the Colorado watershed. Because of course they did.
Mm-hmm.
They built the first permanent settlement in what is now Nevada, called the Mormon Station, now Genoa, in 1851. Additionally, in June of 1855, William Bringhurst and 29 other Mormon missionaries built the first permanent structure, a 150-foot square adobe fort, northeast of downtown Las Vegas, converging on the Spanish and Mormon roads.
Mormons.
I know. The fort remained under Salt Lake City's control until the winter of 1858, 1859, and the route remained largely under control of Salt Lake City and Santa Fe tradespersons. As such, these pioneers laid the foundation for the emergence of initial settlements between the Sierra Nevadas and the Mojave Desert and within the Las Vegas Valley. The enduring influence of New Mexico and Utah's culture has been profoundly impacted Nevada's identity, manifesting through New Mexican cuisine and Mormon foodways, or New Mexican and Mormon folk musics, into the fabric of Nevada's own cultural landscape.
Mormons
I
have
don't know
music?
about you. Apparently.
Since
I was about to say,
when?
oh, I don't fucking know. The foods, yeah, I totally get that. As having gone to Nevada, the foods I totally see. The music, not so much. I don't see that part.
Right.
So as a result of the Mexican-American War and the Treaty of the Guadalupe Hidalgo, Mexico permanently lost Alta California in 1848. The new areas acquired by the U.S. continue to be administered as territories. As part of the Mexican secession in 1848 and the subsequent California gold rush that used immigrant trails through the area, the state's area evolved first as part of the Utah Territory and New Mexico Territory, and then the Nevada Territory on March 2nd, 1861, named for the Sierra Nevadas.
Mm-hmm.
The first discovery of a major U.S. deposit of silver ore occurred in Comstock Lode under Virginia City in 1859. Not to be confused with Virginia City, Virginia.
Right.
No.
Wrong Virginia City.
Wrong part of the U.S. On March 2nd, 1961, the territory separated from the Utah Territory and adopted its current name, which they shortened from the Sierra Nevada. The southern boundary is commemorated by Nevada historical markers 57 and 58 in Lincoln and Nye counties. Yes.
One of my kids got a going away gift because they're going to Sports Cell.
Aww.
It's a gold-plated, like a giant bullet that goes in one of the cats, and it's plated, and it's got information on it, and it says objectile, like all the things on it, but it's a deactivated one, so it has nothing in it.
It's just the shell of it, that's it.
It's so cute. I was later corrected that it is a 3D printed model.
Those fuckers are heavy, though.
I know. That's... So that's why
Have fun moving it.
That's why my honey has big arms. You ever see that he has a small frame and he's got real like strong arms?
That's why.
So he always says he can eat me like flour, and I'm like, no, you can't. That bastard.
He's like, I'll prove it.
He can eat me like flour. You know, they talk about on Book Talk, I just want somebody to eat me. That man can throw me like a bag of flour, just toss me.
Right.
And it's like, oh, my goodness. Now I'm thinking about his arms.
Ma'am, back to
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going to leave that part in. Nobody else needs to know what you talked. You dirty bitches. You don't need to know shit about what I just talked about. All right.
Anyway, so 8 days before the presidential election of 1864, that's when Nevada became the 36th state. Despite lacking the minimum 60,000 residents that Congress typically required a potential state to have in order to become a state.
Right.
At the time, the population was a little under 40,000. Because Governor Nye, who Nye County is named for, was frustrated that the previous attempts to send the Constitution via overland mail and by sea had failed by October 24th. On October 26th, he had them send the full text by telegraph at a cost of $4,303.27 of, 1864 money.
Right.
As of 2023, that was $83,831.36, which was the most costly telegraph on file at the time for a single dispatch.
Right. That's a lot of fucking money at that time.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of money now, so.
Right.
Then and now. So finally, the response from Washington came on Halloween, October 31st. The pain is over. The child is born. Nevada this day was admitted into the Union. That's what was sent back.
Great.
Statehood was rushed to the date of October 31st to help ensure Lincoln's re-election on November 8th and post-Civil War Republican dominance in Congress, as Nevada's mining-based economy tied it to the more industrialized Union. As it turned out, however, Lincoln and the Republicans won the election handily and did not even need the state's help. So it's like, thanks, but no thanks, guys. We got this in the bag already.
Right. It's like, goodbye and thanks for all the fish.
Right. So Nevada is one of only 2 states to significantly expand its borders after admission into the Union, with the other being Missouri. In 1866, another part of western Utah Territory was added to Nevada in the eastern part of the state, setting the current eastern boundary. Nevada achieved its current southern boundaries on January 18th of 1867 when it absorbed the portion of the Piute County in Arizona Territory west of the Colorado River.
Right.
Essentially all of present-day Nevada south of the 37th parallel. The transfer was prompted by the discovery of gold in the area, because of course it was.
Right.
And officials thought Nevada would be better able to oversee the expected population boom. This area includes most of what is now Clark County and the Las Vegas metropolitan area. So if they hadn't done that, the Las Vegas metropolitan area would have been in Arizona.
Right.
So, like mentioned before. Okay, let's try this again.
Okay. Take 2.
So, like mentioned earlier, mining shaped, the economy for many years. When Mark Twain lived in Nevada during the period described in his book Roughing It,
Mm-hmm.
mining had led to an industry of speculation and immense wealth. Both mining and population temporarily declined late 19th century. However, the rich silver strike at Tonopah in 1900, followed by strikes in Goldfield and Rhyolite, created a second mining boom in Nevada and with the population.
Okay.
Because with strikes, you get people coming in to work them. Unregulated gambling was commonplace in the early mining towns, but was outlawed in 1909 as part of a nationwide anti-gambling crusade, because that's when prohibition was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the subsequent declines in mining output and decline of the agricultural sector during the Great Depression, the state legalized they re-legalized gambling on March 19th of 1931 with approval from the legislature.
Yeah.
Governor Fred B. Balzar's signature enacted the most liberal divorce laws in the country in open gambling. The reforms came just 8 days after the federal government presented the $49 million construction contract for Boulder Dam, which they then changed to the Hoover Dam.
Right.
Everything good?
Yeah, I'm trying to I have no idea what I'm going to cook for dinner, and if I need to cook something for dinner, I have to take it out now. So I'm looking at what to cook.
Ah. I was like, okay.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're good. You're kosher.
Okay. Wasn't sure about the minions.
No, 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 no. They're not barking. If they bark, we have to cut that whole section out because it's too loud.
Yeah.
The squeaking, I don't think our listeners will care.
Okay. So there is a place called the Nevada Test Site, which is 65 miles northwest of the city of Las Vegas, which was founded on January 11th, 1951 for the testing of the nuclear weapons.
Yes, and it is so fucking freaky.
It really is. The site consists of about 1,350 square miles of the desert and mountainous terrain. Like, because they've just left it alone since then, it's really pretty because it's protected site now. So, like, they go in and make sure, like, it doesn't get, like, too insane, but otherwise it looks like a state park almost. It's
Right.
very pretty, but very radioactive. You
Very
cannot go
much so.
into it.
No, you cannot. And even if you are allowed to go into that area, you have to have radiation suits and a couple of other things, and it's
everything.
Right.
So nuclear testing at the test site began with a 1 kiloton of TNT nuclear bomb dropped on Frenchman Flat on January 27th, 1951. The last atmospheric test was conducted on July 17th, 1962, and the underground testing of weapons continued until September 23rd of 1992.
Ooh.
Yeah, so like a little over 30 years they continued the underground testing. The location is known for having the highest concentration of nuclear detonated weapons in the U.S.
Okay.
So over 80% of the states is owned by the federal government. This is mainly because homesteads were not permitted in large enough sizes to be viable in the arid conditions that prevail throughout the desert.
Right.
So instead, early settlers would homestead land sourcing a water source. Basically, they would kind of create channels for the water source to get to their property.
Right.
And you had to like stay on good terms with your neighbors that were up channel from you, because Because if you piss them off, they could just shut off your water source.
Yeah.
Do y'all mind?
Apparently not.
Obviously not. Um, and then they would graze land stock on the adjacent public land, which is useless for agriculture without access to water. And this pattern of ranching still exists or still prevails. So,
Yeah.
like a lot of places that you drive around in Nevada will have like all of a sudden you're just like, oh, there's a cattle gate
Yep.
in like the middle of the road, and you're just like, what the hell?
Where did it come from? Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's one of
because
those.
it's all just free grazing.
It is. And it's really weird because like I've gone, West Coast living,
Yeah,
I've gone to Nevada quite a few times, and it's one of those things where it's like driving late at night through that area and just seeing a random cow
yeah.
just kind of there, and you're like, where's your mama? Where you from? Where you
Oh yeah.
going?
Dad would goes up to Mount Charleston to do some camping, and he's like, woke up one morning, there was horses at the campsite. They just wandered through. He's just like, okay, hi guys.
It's one of those things where you're just kind of like, well, guess we're here now.
Yeah, you just kind of have to roll with it.
It's like in sorry, I had to get something out of my drawers. It's
Yeah.
like something in Tahoe. Um Black bears just walking into houses.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really do anything about it, you know?
Nope. Just hope they don't wreck your shit up too much.
Right. Ain't oh ain't wanting that shit. Mm, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah. I just
That was a no.
nope. I forgot to write a recipe down and now I have to do it.
Oh no.
It's fine. It's one of those things where it's like, do I really? Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay, so during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
was confirmed in Nevada, March 5th, 2020. The Nevada governor Steve Sisolak declared a state of emergency on March 12th, and then 4 days later, Nevada reported its first death. March 17th, the governor ordered the closure of non-essential.
I'm here. Hold on.
Okay, I'm like, what just happened?
I'm readjust. You don't need to see what I'm readjusting.
Okay. I thought for a second there, like the chat had ended, so I was like, what just happened?
So my blanket was it look, guys, I do not wear pants unless I absolutely fucking have to. All right, I am not about to blind Rachel with my whiteness. I am
I
wearing
appreciate it.
I am wearing, pants, but not like
Pants.
pants. Not about to blind Rachel. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so March 17th, governor ordered closure of non-essential businesses in the state to help prevent the spread. At the end of March, he announced a 90-day moratorium on evictions and foreclosures for commercial and residential tenants, and it was then extended several times over the next year.
Okay.
Several protests were held against his shutdown order beginning April. Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman was also critical of the shutdown and its length, urging him to reopen the state. Like, I get it because it was people needed money because, bills and shit, but at the same
Right.
time, trying to keep people safe.
Right.
She was widely criticized after suggesting that Vegas become a control group to test the effectiveness of social distancing. I remember that in the news.
Right. A lot of people were not
Um,
happy with that decision.
yeah. They launched their first phase of reopening on May 9th, 2020. Restaurants, retailers, outdoor malls, and hair salons were among the businesses allowed to reopen, but with precautions in place, such as limiting occupancy to 50%,
Right.
which is still a lot.
Well, and if you consider like that area of that area of Nevada is like, excuse me, um,
Right?
that area of Nevada is known to be the biggest little city in the world. That's its nickname.
Yeah.
It's a small area.
Hmm.
Where do they fit everyone?
I don't know. Second phase went into effect on May 29th of 2020, so like 20 days later.
Yeah.
And that allowed for reopening of state parks and businesses such as bars, gyms, and movie theaters. Casinos began reopening on June 4th of 2020. And they've been battling with it ever since.
Well, yeah, because they were one of the few places that didn't actually
Fully shut down, including
right.
the state of Florida.
Right. I mean, there's still small outbreaks in Virginia because they did shut down for 2 months,
Yeah.
but not as bad.
So some of the mountain ranges, moving on.
Uh-huh.
Um, some of their peaks
Mm-hmm.
are above 13,000 feet.
Holy fuck knuckles.
Yeah. They harbor a lush forest high above the desert plains and creating sky islands for endemic species.
Ooh.
The valleys are often no lower in elevation than 3,000 feet, while some in central Nevada are above 6,000 feet.
Okay.
Like, that's still pretty high.
That's super high.
Yeah. Um, so the Mojave Desert, uh, or the southern third of the state, where Vegas area is situated,
Mm-hmm.
is within the Mojave Desert, and this area receives no less rain in the winter, but is closer. This area receives less rain in the winter, but is closer to the Arizona monsoon in the summer. The terrain is also lower, mostly below 4,000 feet,
Mm-hmm.
and creating conditions on hot summer days and cool to chilly winter nights.
Can contest. Yep. Or can
Yep.
can attest. Yes.
Just kind of skipping over my notes here.
You're good.
Nevada and California have by far the largest diagonal line
Oh.
in respect to the cardinal directions as a state boundary at just over 400 miles.
Hmm.
This line begins in Lake Tahoe, nearly 4 miles offshore in the direction of the boundary, and continues to the Colorado River, where the Nevada, California, and Arizona boundaries merge 12 miles southwest of the Laughlin Bridge.
Hmm.
The largest mountain range in the southern portion of the state is the Spring Mountain Range, just west of Vegas, and the state's lowest point is along the Colorado River.
Huh.
It has 172 mountain summits with 2,000 feet of prominence.
Holy crap.
Nevada ranks second after Alaska for the greatest number of mountains in the U.S., which is then followed by California, Montana, and Washington. Like, I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of mountains.
That is a fuck ton of mountains.
The average annual rainfall per year is about 7 inches. The wettest parts get around 40 inches. Nevada's highest recorded temperature is 125 degrees Fahrenheit. which was recorded at Laughlin, June 29th of 1994.
Laughlin?
Laughlin. Laughlin.
Laughlin.
Laughlin.
Laughlin. Laughlin.
Laughlin.
Laughlin.
Laughlin. Laughlin. The lowest recorded temperature was negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit at San Jacinto.
Hold on. Write it on the
The
script.
English part of me wants to pronounce that as a
J-A.
hard J. Jacinto.
Hinto.
Huh?
Hinto.
Hinto.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my brain was like hard J, and I was like, no, not
It's
hard
not
J.
Jacinto.
I know, that's why I was like pausing. I was battling with my brain over it. I was like,
it's Hinto.
yeah. Anyway, so it was negative 50 degrees there on January 8th of 1937.
Mm-hmm.
The vegetation of Nevada is diverse and differs by state area. It contains 6 biotic zones. You have the alpine, subalpine, the ponderosa pine, the pinon juniper, the sagebrush, and the creosote brush.
Mm-hmm.
Recreational areas that are maintained by the federal government are as follows. So I'm going to do northern, northern and then southern.
Mm-hmm.
The Basin and Range National Monument, Black Rock Desert High Rock Canyon, Emigrant Trails National Conservation Area. Words are really hard today. The California National Historic Trail, the Great Basin National Park, the Humboldt-Tiobe National Forest, Lake Tahoe Basin Management Unit, the Pony Express National Historic Trail, and the Sheldon National Wildlife Refuge. That was for northern Nevada.
Okay.
Southern Nevada, there's a lot more.
Okay.
You have the Ash Meadows National Wildlife Preserve, the Avi Kwame National Monument, the Basin and Range National Monument, Bootleg Canyon Mountain Bike Park, Death Valley National Park, Desert National Wildlife Refuge, Gold Butte National Monument, the Humboldt-Tiobe National Forest.
Humboldt? Humbot?
Humboldt.
Humboldt. Humboldt.
And then the other word was Toiyabe.
T-O-Y.
T-O-I.
T-O-I.
Y-A-B-E.
Tiobe.
Tiobe.
Yeah. I have to write it out in order to remember how to.
The Inyo National Forest. Lake Mead National Recreation Area. The Moapa Valley National Wildlife Refuge. Mount Charleston and Mount Charleston Wilderness, which is where Dad goes to do his camping. Very pretty there.
Oh, yeah.
Old Spanish National Historic Trail. The Pahranagat National Wildlife Refuge. Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area, which is also very pretty. Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area. Spring Mountains and Spring Mountains National Recreation Area. And Tool Springs for Fossil Beds National Monument. That was a lot of words. Sorry, guys.
Hey, you did really well. Let's just. A lot of those words are native based, so you did really well.
I try. So you want to know how much in the fiscal year of 2022, how much the Nevada casinos made?
Yes, please.
So not counting those with annual revenue under $1 million, They brought in 10.7 billion US dollars in gaming revenue and another 15.7 billion US dollars in non-gaming revenue.
Holy shit.
Yeah. They bring in some money.
Neighbor's back.
Um of course they are. So they also have the most hotel rooms per capita in the US. Apparently, there are, according to the American Hotel and Lodging Association, there are 187,301 rooms in 584 hotels, um, which is ranked just below California, Texas, Florida, and New York in the total number of rooms. But those states have much larger populations.
Mm.
Nevada has one hotel room for every 14 residents, far above the national average of one hotel room per 67 residents.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Okay, so a little bit about the prostitution being legalized.
Yes. We support all
Um,
workers.
so apparently it's only legal in parts of Nevada and licensed brothels,
Oh,
but only counties with populations under 400,000 have the option to legalize it.
okay.
Although it is not a major part of the economy, employing roughly 300 women as independent contractors, it is still a very visible endeavor. Of the 14 counties permitted to legalize it under state law, 8 have chosen to legalize brothels.
Uh-huh.
State law prohibits prostitution in Clark County, which contains Vegas, Washoe County, which contains Reno. However, it is legal in Story County, which is part of the Reno-Sparks metropolitan area.
Mm-hmm.
That was about it. That's all I found out about it.
Oh, okay.
It's very hush hush.
It really is. One of my friends worked before she moved to Germany, which is one
Mm-hmm.
of our Germany listeners. We love her. We stand for her. I can't give out her name because of her job. She worked over by the Bunny Ranch. You know,
Oh, nice.
she worked with the Bunny Ranch, but she worked at another facility in the area. And
I mean, it would make sense that like they would have like a bunch of like little places like
they
just kind of
do,
out in the middle of
yeah,
nowhere, little compounds kind of thing.
they do, and they take care of their girls. You know, and some
As they
men,
should.
some men. There are some men. Um, and it
Because if
really
they didn't, they wouldn't last long.
right, and some of it, you know, is definitely not good facilities. They don't
Mm-hmm.
take care of their people, but I mean, she worked in a good facility. Like
That's good.
they had a stripper pole in the middle of the meeting room. I went there once, picked her up for lunch. We were gonna go have food at the all you can eat buffet,
Mm-hmm.
and let me tell you, that was something. Walking in front room, just a stripper pole right in the middle, and just a girl just right there, and I was like, "You're very pretty," and she's like, "So are you," and I was like, "Thanks. You have really strong thighs."
Yeah, you have to be on those poles.
How do you even like just the I can't I am not
Lots
Gumby.
of practice, lots of bruising.
Right.
Uh, so several U.S. Navy ships have been named the USS Nevada in honor of the state.
Mm.
They include the Nevada, which was a 1865 screw
Oh,
frigate.
hey.
Um, the USS Nevada, which was a BM-8. The USS Nevada, a BB-36. And the USS Nevada, an SSBN 733.
Mm.
For our Navy people, they'll know what they are. But
For
for
us,
everybody else,
for me, not so much.
battleships, that's all I know.
Pew pews.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Okay.
I know the B stand for battleship. That's all I know. So some Area 51 shit.
All right. We love us some spooky shit. Let's go.
Um, it's near Groom Lake, which is a dry salt lake bed. The much smaller Creech Air Force Base is in Indian Springs, which is near Area 51. It like literally like you blink, you pass it.
Right. They do have that one flying saucer cafe right in front of Area
Mm-hmm.
51.
Yes.
That's the only notable thing that you'll know to stop at.
Yeah, pretty much. You have the Hawthorne Army Depot in Hawthorne, obviously. The Tonopah Test Range, and then Nellis Air Force Base in
Mm-hmm.
the northeast part of the Vegas Valley. Apparently, there's even a naval air station.
Oh.
Um, so Naval Air Station Fallon in Fallon, and then the NSOC, the NSAWC in Western Nevada.
Okay.
The NSOC is consolidated of three command centers that were formed into a single command structure under a flag officer in July of 1996.
Hmm.
The Naval Strike Warfare Center joined NAS Fallon, um, and they were joined with the Naval Fighter Weapons School. You know what that is?
No, you're gonna tell me.
Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Highway to
So
the danger zone.
the Top Gun the pilot flights
Uh-huh.
for in the desert, that was there. That was in Nevada.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Carrier Airborne Early Warning Weapons School, uh, which both moved from NAS in Miramar as a result of a base realignment and closure decision in 1993. Um, the Seahawk Weapons School was added in 1998 to provide tactical training for Navy helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just thought like it was cool that, Top Gun.
Yeah.
These spaces host a number of activities, including the Joint Unmanned Aerial Systems Center of Excellence, the Naval Strike and Air Warfare Center, Nevada Test and Training Range, Red Flag, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds,
Mm-hmm.
the United States Air Force Warfare Center, and the United States Air Force Weapons School, and the United States Navy Fighter Weapons School. So the Thunderbirds have a museum at the Nellis Air Force Base. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nellis is their home base, just like the Blue Angels is their home base is Pensacola.
Right.
It's really cool. Highly recommend, you guys look them up. Like their pilots are pretty badass.
Aren't those the Blue Angels?
The Blue Angels, they currently have, I think, one female pilot. For a long time, it was only just strictly men.
Yeah. Oh, that's the
Um,
girl that's been trending on TikTok. Watch me cook.
Yeah.
That chick. Oh, I love her.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's they go to air shows and perform, do maneuvers and stuff, and it's just really cool.
Love that.
Okay, so a little bit more spooky stuff.
Spooky.
Okay, so obviously there's the Mizpah Hotel, which we
talked
covered in the
about.
episode.
Uh-huh.
So there are 8 others that I was able to find.
Okay.
So we have the Silver Queen Hotel in Virginia City.
Uh-huh.
She's an old hotel, obviously, which is said to be haunted by the spirit of a prostitute. In room 11, named Rosie. Whether or not that's her actual name or not,
We don't know.
we don't know. She apparently committed sewer slide in the late 1800s in the room's bathtub by slitting her own wrists. She makes her presence known by rattling doorknobs, phantom footsteps, and disembodied voices.
I don't think she wanted to, if that makes any sense.
right? Like literally, especially in that time, once you're in that life, it's very hard for you to get out.
Right.
You either die in that life or you become a madam of your own brothel.
Right.
Like those are the only ways you, and even then becoming a madam, you are still in that life. You just are over other people.
Right. Not having to actually do the actual thing.
Yeah. Um so next one is the Mackey Mansion, again in Virginia City. A lot of these were in Virginia City.
Well, you know the history of Virginia City. We talked about it.
Yeah.
So, big
It's
booming
super
town.
haunted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super haunted. Yes.
So the mansion was built in 1860 and served as the home of John Mackey, one of the so-called Silver Kings of Virginia City.
Ugh.
It's now a museum and is said to be one of the most haunted places in the town and of the whole of Nevada.
Sure.
We'll see.
Sure.
Many of the guests who come to the museum say that they have seen apparitions of a colonel in the kitchen and a little girl in a white dress in several of the rooms. Why is it
Mm.
always kids?
You know, I can't. Mm-mm. Like, it took me a while to get used to Alexandria, but not
Yeah,
the city, the child that hangs out here. Um,
she doesn't have eyes, does she?
so,
It's
um,
always the eyes.
so we talked about it. I think it was the last podcast, the podcast
Yes.
before. Children don't have eyes. They died tragically. Like, they were murdered in some sort of fashion, and it was very, very like do 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 do. So the ones that don't have eyes, I tend to give them a little bit more breathing room. I tend to give them
Yeah.
space and go, when you're ready, I'm here. If you need anything, you can just kind of hang around the house. I kind of get used to it. The laughing, Alexandra, it took her 3 years before she stopped laughing. And it would creep me out. And I finally went, I know it bothers you when I snore. She goes, yes. I said, I can't control it. She goes, okay. And I said, but when I have that high pitched laugh, you don't like that either. And she goes, no. And I said, so I stopped. Can you do me a favor and stop doing that? She went, yes. I said, okay. If you want to scare people, on the other hand, that's different. You can do it if you're
Right.
scaring people. So, of course, when I lived with my ex, the super abusive one, which one? I can't tell you. But she apparently laughed in the middle of the night when I wasn't there. I was visiting my folks. And he picked up and he took off. And I was like, what the fuck happened? She goes, I don't know. I just laughed. And I went, good, good. I'm glad.
There it is.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Um,
So apparently some of the staff for the mansion say that they often hear the little girl playing upstairs when nobody is up there.
ooh, no, ma'am.
Um, so then you have the Yellow Jacket mine in Silver City.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder why it's called Silver City? Well, that's because silver was found there.
Yup.
And they ran out of names to name things. It's very original. Um anyways, so there was a fire in the mine that ripped through the mine in 1869. It is said to have killed more than 35 miners, but not all of the bodies were able to be recovered. It is said that this is perhaps the reason why up to 11 spirits are still haunting the mine.
Nope.
Abraham Curry House in Carson City
Mm-hmm.
was built in 1871 by Carson City founder Abraham Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he died in 1873 from a stroke, so he never really got the chance to enjoy the house he built. Um,
I'm sorry. Build up and build up and build up and oh, I'm dead.
They're like he got like 1 year from the time he finished it to the time he died.
Right.
But apparently he's been frequenting the house since his death. At first, it's thought it was so he could check on his family he left behind. But even after the family was gone, he has still been spotted.
Ugh.
The house is currently a private law office, and many of the staff still see him wandering the property.
I'm good.
Right.
Yeah.
The Old Washoe Club in Virginia City was originally built in the 1870s, and at the time it was a upper class club for the rich,
I'm
which means
sure.
it was most likely a gentleman's club
Yep.
with ladies.
Yep.
One of the most commonly reported spirits that are said to haunt the club today is the apparition of a blonde woman known as Lena, who is believed to be a prostitute. Again, gentlemen's club with women.
Right.
She's often seen on the spiral staircase, but she was supposedly actually murdered in a bedroom on the third floor of the building, and her murderer, who committed suicide on the second floor, is also seen in the club from time to time.
What in the actual fuck? Nothing?
So she
No.
can't even get rid of her, her murderer
No.
in the afterlife. She's still stuck with him.
Right.
Apparently, there are also reports of a teenage girl who was murdered in the basement.
No.
Then there's the Nevada Governor's Mansion in Carson City. It was first occupied in 1909 by Governor Danver S. Dickerson and his family.
Mm-hmm.
It is now said to be haunted by his wife, Una, and their daughter, June. Visitors to the mansion always comment on the cold spots throughout the mansion, and both of the female spirits have been spotted on occasion.
Yeah.
There's the Goldfield Hotel in Goldfield. It is well known to fans of the paranormal and has been featured on several paranormal TV shows.
Ghost Hunters being one of them. I know that.
Yep. With even national news programs running segments on the potential evidence gathered here, it is now stands abandoned and boarded up, but it was opened in 1908 by George Wingfield, and his presence is still felt today. The most famous ghost that has been encountered is a young woman named Elizabeth, and legend states that she was a favorite of the hotel's owner, and he visited her with some frequency, which again means that she was a prostitute.
Yeah.
Apparently, she became pregnant with his child, but he was concerned for his reputation in business, so he lured her into room 109 at the hotel, where he kept her chained to the radiator until she gave birth. She died in the room, and the baby was allegedly killed and thrown down a nearby mine shaft. She is seen in room 109 wearing a long white dress and appears to be sad. Well, of course she's sad.
Right.
She has been heard crying, and some visitors have heard what sounds like her chains clanking against a radiator. All I could think of when I read that was because I do dark humor to cope with things. Is
we all do dark humor to cope with things.
Yeah, is Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
With the ghosts, with the chains. Only I like the Muppets version. So them just the old guys with the chains rattling around. But apparently Elizabeth is not the only ghost. Obviously George Wingfield is also there, and that he's supposedly still tormenting her even in death. One former staff member is also said to be haunting the hotel after committing suicide in the building. There are also reports of a very dark and malevolent entity on the upper floors, and there have been many different reports of poltergeist activities.
Man.
Yeah.
Why?
Just all over dark place.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. The Overland Hotel and Saloon in Piot. While Tombstone Dodge City usually snags the light for Western tales, apparently this town takes a cake for true Wild West chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Apparently, while it was buzzing with mining frenzy and a scarce regard for law, witnesses, there have been witness. This town has witnessed such relentless turmoil that the graveyard filled up with 72 souls before natural causes could claim one.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm. It is now dubbed Nevada's most spirited ghost town.
I'm sure.
Um, and it has simmered down somewhat, at least while the sun is up.
Ah,
So this hotel and saloon, uh,
it's a lot. Sorry, now I'm gonna. Anyways,
sorry, I caught myself and I was like, wrong word.
right?
So it was Ghost Adventures went there,
Yep.
um, capturing some of their most eerie encounters. Apparently, spectral figures causing a ruckus and jolting guests from their slumber are so common that the hotel staff have a standing offer. Ask nicely, and they'll steer you to a room where the night bumps are just from the living. But honestly, dodging the spectral roommates, you just might have to miss out on a real adventure. Um, but also, like, working at a hotel, guys, be nice to the hotel staff.
Right.
Like, if you're nice and courteous and polite to them, they will go above and beyond for you.
Right.
If you start throwing attitude or any kind of like sassiness to them,
Right.
they will send it back to you and they will do the bare minimum
Oh yeah.
for you.
110%. I mean, like that I worked customer service for a hotel for like one summer and it was just like helping out. It was my friend's hotel. I was just helping
Yeah.
out. I wasn't getting paid. He was feeding me every night, so I didn't have anything to worry about for lunch and dinner.
Food.
Free food. I didn't even have to. I had oatmeal at home. I just had to worry about breakfast and dinner or lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
When I tell you, he's like, look, if people are nice, give them what they ask for. But if they're rude, go ahead and be a bitch.
Right. Like, and that's the thing. Like, if you're nice to us, we will go above and beyond. We will make sure like this is one of the most pleasant experiences of your life. If you start getting snappy, if you come right out the gate being ugly to us, we will be ugly right back and do the bare minimum that is
Right.
required for us. But anyways, that's all I got for Nevada.
I love spooky Nevada. The one place that I've gone to in Nevada, one of the casinos that I know for a fact is super, super haunted is the
Of
MGM
course.
casino. I don't know if it's still there, if it's under new management. Um,
No, it's still there.
you know the one I'm talking about, the one with the big lion.
It's still there. When I went there to visit dad in 2017, it was still called the MGM
Okay,
Casino.
okay. It's super haunted.
I mean, most of the older casinos are out there.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, can we not?
I just want to enjoy my time without all the les spookies.
Right. I really don't like want to spend my whole time while I'm on vacation worried about.
The spookies.
Sorry. So Josh makes memes for the podcast and I have to fix them and put like our little tagline on them and everything.
Because I love him, but his grammar's not always so best.
No, cuz you can't use the word murder in posts on Facebook. Unfortunately, it gets flagged. So,
Right.
Unfortunately, I have to, unless it's like this person was murdered, in which case
Found
it's
that out the hard way.
right, right. I didn't know that. So, he did one that says me telling kids that I didn't have internet or podcasts when I was growing up. I had to watch America's Most Wanted to find out about the murderer.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I mean, did you know that we are older than Google?
I don't like that.
I don't either. I told that to my nephew and he goes, "Yeah, you're older than dirt." And I was like, "I'm sorry, no. Pop Pop is older than dirt. He knew dirt when dirt was still a rock." I I'm sad. I'm sad.
Right. We're older than iPod Nanos.
Shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, because they came out in like the 2000s, early 2000s.
Oh my God, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's. Oh.
Y2K too, and on a plus note, they did bring Pizza Hut did bring back the pizza rewards for
Oh,
the schools. If you, I think it's if you read these many books or something, you get a free personal pan pizza or something.
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's invent a new thing because it said we've listened to you and we brought this back, and I was like, yay!
We love that.
Right.
That makes us happy. But then again, it's like this is stuff that we grew up with and it's now coming back, you know?
I know.
Uh-oh. We're having technical difficulties.
Mom's trying to beep in.
I'm busy.
Right? Literally, she's trying to beep in my phone, and so it threw it to the iPad as well because they're linked together.
Right. Oh.
So
Oh.
I think this is a good point to stop.
I think it is too. I think that we had a great episode today. I think you guys
Yes.
need to stay spooky. If you have any fun stories from Georgia or Nevada, don't forget to send those to us at tpw3mpodcast@gmail.com or follow us at on Instagram and Facebook at tpw3mpodcast. As always, we enjoyed having you today. Stay spooky and we'll see you again next time. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Next time on the Pandemonium Witches, it is home to wetsuits, Barbies, and fortune cookies. Its severe reputation was cemented by reports of extreme punishments and harsh living conditions suffered by the inmates, whose souls are now rumored to haunt the facility. He's a good man. And I said, he's a good man? He murdered people.
It just looks very spooky.
It is.
And only like half the yard is mowed. I was thinking it had this like deep fryer. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
As far as disembodied voices and spectral visions, many employees and visitors, including myself, have heard the clinking of glasses, rainy music, footsteps, and laughter.